Our next question comes from Robert, and Robert writes, how did you determine your goal weight and how long did it take to achieve it?
Okay, the important thing about goal weight is to have smaller goals. So if I started out and said I've got to lose 80 pounds or 6 stone if you're in the UK, I probably would have failed because that is a huge goal to achieve. So I would look at it in terms of, okay, let's get out there and hit 10 pounds. Let's try and lose 10 pounds. And every time I'd come down 10 pounds, I would set the same goal. Because then you can assess how you feel. Now listen, I am first in the line when it comes to being fixated with the scales. I would jump on it every morning and I would look at the scales. But really it does come down to how you feel and how much energy you have. So eventually I kind of got down and coming down past the 200, that was a huge deal. And then when I was at 190, I was saying, okay, I want to be 185 and I want to make 185 my buffer zone. Which basically meant that if I jumped on the scales and I weighed 188, I knew I had to be a bit stricter to get that back down to 185. So it was like, like a third rail. It was, that kind of energy.
Yeah.
And that's how my strategy worked. And then eventually it would come down. And at 180, I thought, okay, I'm done. But then I kind of looked at my body and my running and my exercise. I thought, you know what, I probably could go for another 10 pounds. What I'm happy to say is at 170, I don't want to lose any more weight. Sure, I still got a tiny bit of a tummy, I think, but then I think we all would say that about ourselves anyway. I'm happy at 170. I feel good. My skin, I get a lot of comments on my skin being good. And I have a lot of energy, so I'm happy to be at 170. You know, guys, something I always say is that small victories are much better than big defeats. And you can set yourself up for failure if you go, I'm going to lose 100 pounds. Better off saying, alright, I want to lose 10 pounds in the next 2 weeks. And when you achieve these goals, you give yourself a pat on the back, you don't reward yourself with food, but you then go for another 10 pounds. And if you do it that way, it's more sustainable than going for a huge goal.
And how long did it take you?
So this is the thing, actually the first 60 pounds went off very quickly. I want to say around about 7 months from when I started. But then I moved to the United States, and we all know that portion size in the United States is very, very different from that in Europe, particularly where I was living in Sweden. So the bulk of it came off in 6-7 months. I had a food addiction to something that makes people laugh, because for most people it's chocolate or chips or whatever, cheese. I adore root beer. If anybody watching can come up with a healthy juice recipe that tastes similar to root beer, you're my friend for life, because I haven't found it yet and I would like to. But what happened was I moved to the US, and in the UK you can't get root beer. Well, you couldn't back then anyway, it's not very popular there. So I would come to the US on holidays and drink gallons of it. I mean gallons of it, because I knew for another year or 2 years I wasn't going to be able to drink the stuff. And then when I moved here, I kind of did go a bit mad again, and it was like the other question, learning from your mistakes. And I realized, whoa, there's like 10 tablespoons of sugar in this, so I had to do something. And what I did was, it goes back to the splurge meal idea. I would buy one high quality root beer, and there's one called Virgil's, which I really like.
Virgil's is good.
Delicious. And there's also another one in Whole Foods, I can't remember the name of it, but more natural ingredients. And I would have that one bottle in my fridge all week, cooling nicely. So by Saturday night, be nice and chilled. And I'd make a bit of a ceremony of it, enjoying the one bottle of root beer. Now I have a big thanks to Chris Carr, the author of Crazy Sexy Kitchen and the documentary Crazy Sexy Cancer. She spoke with Joe at Camp Reboot a couple of weeks ago. And what she actually said was, it was a visual image. What happens when you knock your soda, your Coca-Cola, whatever, onto the carpet? You clean it up and it's all sticky.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you think, actually, when I'm drinking this stuff, that's what it's doing to my insides. I haven't drunk root beer since, and okay, it was only a couple of weeks ago, but even last night, it was a Saturday night, I didn't crave it, because I now have that visual image that that stuff is not good for me. So again, that's how you deal with it. So that's a very powerful image.
So you lost, it took you about 6 months to lose the first 60
60
pounds,
pounds.
and then the next 20, about how long did that take?
Well, you know, that was 3 years ago, so it kind of took 3 years. But for a long time I was happy at my weight, so I wasn't really juicing. Plus, you know, moving to the United States and, you know, portion size was an issue for me. So again, I had to learn from mistakes and go, oh, okay, I don't have to eat the whole of this meal on my plate, and we're all conditioned to do that. I can just have half, and then I adopted strategies and so forth. So I will be honest, when you go on a juice fast, if you have that kind of goal weight, generally the last 10 to 20 pounds are the most stubborn. You know, the first 60 came off, you know, pretty rapidly, and it does depend on your own size and shape. But for me, that last 20 pounds, they were pretty difficult to come off. But listen, hey, the first 60, I was very happy with that.
So we have another question from Lucy. What is the longest fast you have completed, and how did you decide when it was time to stop? Good question.
Yeah, Lucy, so for me it was, the longest fast I completed was 10 days. Now that shocks a lot of people. They go, really? You didn't do a 30 or a 60? But what you have to remember is when I started out on this, Joe's film hadn't been launched. So I didn't know you could juice for 30 days or 60 days. I followed, big fan of Jason Bale. For those of you in Great Britain, you'll know him. His website is juicemaster.com. I urge you to go take a look at that. And I read his books, and his plan was 7 pounds in 7 days. So for me, 7 days was the ideal fast period. And then I remember going, all right, let's aim for 10 days. Let's see how I feel on 10 days. And at that stage, I was happy with the weight loss and how I felt. I didn't want to carry on. I felt 10 days was sufficient, and I was happy with it. And it was interesting at Camp Reboot, you know, Juicing with Joe, we got to speak to a guy, Clint. And Clint actually juiced for 100 days.
Whoa.
Only juiced one. Amazing guy. And I had to shake him by the hand. But he said to me, he said, you know what, I should have done what Joe and Phil Staples did. I should have stopped at 60 days, because he didn't go into it, but he had some health complications. So you really have to listen to your body. I personally think that the 5 to 7 day period is good, but building up to it, so you have the 5 days clean, the 5 day reboot, and then the 5 day transition, because the transition period is the most difficult. And I can tell you this now, the first 3 days you feel like crap, you want to give up at every opportunity. By day 7, you don't want to give up. You can see the weight coming off, you feel this extra energy, you're like, I don't want to go back to real food. And for me, I was scared, because when you juice fast, you know the juices you can have, it's simple. But then you get out to the wide world, and it was funny, I came back from Camp Reboot, and I had to go to the supermarket to get some stuff, and I walked past this hot dog truck, and wow, I mean, when you go on a fast, your senses are really sharpened. I was like a shark smelling blood. I could smell that from a mile away. I resisted, but you know, when you transition, it's tough.
Yeah. All right, we have another question from Shelley, and Shelley writes, how were you able to resist temptation and stay motivated? Temptation like hot dog trucks.
It's the why power. Why power is very important. So not willpower, because I think willpower is resisting certain things. Why power is, yeah, see that hot dog truck over there? I could have had a hot dog, but I'm deciding not to. I am deciding I don't want it. So it's very important to have that why power. And when I used to go running in you know, Arctic Sweden, I had 10 reasons why I was out there running. And I would just turn them over in my hand and I'd visualize them, stuff like, you know, I want to be able to go and buy a nice suit. I don't want to go to the fat guy store anymore. I want to be able to play more sports. I want to be more attractive to the opposite sex. I mean, you see, it's true.
Yeah.
You have to have the white power, and the white power will make your resolve so much stronger.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people who write to me who are getting married, and they want to look, obviously, their best on the wedding day, and they want to come down a few sizes. And it's like, yeah, that's what motivates them, is that wedding day. And I used to get motivated by, at the end of every year, we used to have a big holiday party at our company. And I wanted, you know, people to come up to me and go, wow, how much weight have you lost this year? And that, it's not being, you know, egotistical or anything like that, or showing off. It's just generally having that goal of where you want to be, and that's just so important. So that's how mainly I'd resist temptation. Or the other thing is, if I didn't, so let's say I ate the hot dog and I felt like awful afterwards, I would store that in my mind. And every time I'm tempted, I go, yeah, remember what happened last time you had that after a fast? You know, you felt ill. So it's visualizing and really remembering how you feel. It's so crucial.
That's great advice.
Thank you.
We have one last question from Pat, and Pat writes, I need to lose over 100 pounds. What advice would you give someone like me that doesn't really like the taste of vegetables but really wants to lose weight?
Pat, we interact on Facebook, so I want to thank you for for you reaching out to us and also your contributions on the page. A lot of people initially don't like the taste of vegetables. You hand someone a green smoothie and they're, I can't drink that. So what I advocate is a 50-50 blend. Remember, that's 50% fruit, apples, pineapple, very good, and then 50% vegetable. Do that for a week, and eventually your taste will start to change, believe it or not. And then you want to bring it down 60-40 until you get to 70-30, and hopefully 80-20 I think is optimum. Even now, I struggle with 100% green juice.
Yeah.
So I try and get a balance of 80% veggies and 20% fruit. Also, like we talked about earlier about leaning in. When you lean in, let's say you absolutely cannot tolerate beets, you've tried everything, then don't juice with beets. Find another alternative. Same with kale, same with spinach. But what I will say, Pat, is stick with it, because my tastes have changed. And the funny thing is, I always remember on an early cleanse I did, I was craving broccoli, steamed broccoli with chili flakes. I wasn't craving a bacon double cheeseburger or prime rib.
Wow.
I was craving broccoli with chili. Steamed broccoli just seemed the best thing.
When does that ever happen?
It never has happened until I got into this.
Wow.
So, Pat, stick with it. You will find that your taste will change. But if you really can't handle, say for instance, beets, then just don't juice with it. Try and find something else.
Wow, that's great. So, Shane, on behalf of the Running on Juice community, I really want to congratulate you on reaching your goal weight.
Thank you.
And also inspiring so many people to change their lives for good. Do you have any closing thoughts you'd like to share with the community?
Yes, I do. And it's to you guys. I really want to thank you all for the emails we receive. I want to thank you for all the likes we get on Facebook, all the comments. They really add up. They really inspire Angie and I to keep on with our message of going out and promoting the benefits of juicing. And really what we're trying to do is to show people that by eating and drinking more plants, you will actually feel better. And that's without drugs, without alcohol, all that stuff. Just eating natural and eating more plant-based food will have make a huge difference in your life. So I want to thank you guys for coming to the website, coming to the Facebook page. If you've watched this interview, well done you. You could be doing something, watching TV, Jersey Shore, whatever's on TV these days. But you're not. You're investing in yourself. So I tell you what, if you have made your way to the end of this interview, you're going to go all the way because you're investing in yourself. So please keep commenting. Please keep, you can ask questions, and you really motivate us to get out there and share the positive benefits of juicing. So thank you very much for that.